All right, here we go. We're back at it again, getting set for a really great weekend of action. Today we're going to focus primarily on the card at Del Mar because it's actually really great. And there are 4 races on there. I think we can, first off, we'll get a good look at maybe getting some value, nice return on the investment, and of course, a couple of these races, a Breeders' Cup win in your end events. So you get an idea as to maybe how the Breeders' Cup is going to shape up because that's where we're going to make all our money. But let's get this money right now while it is here. Taking a look at what's happening. You got the Green Flash. It's a grade 2 event coming up on Saturday from Del Mar. 5 furlongs on the turf. It is going to be race number 5. We put those little green dots next to the horses we think provide pace. Now it's 5 furlongs, and you're thinking, well, everybody's going to be quick. Sort of. But, you could very possibly see one horse try and scoot around and take them all the way. And that horse could be to the inside. A horse by the name of Monster. MSA Jaramillo he's not a send rider, but he's an assertive rider. And so I really believe that he's going to try to break on top and get away from this field. Now, that's the first time he's ridden this 3-year-old horse, so it's going to be interesting to see what difference he makes, but I think he makes a huge difference, and I think Monster will break on top. And he could have some company from Virat, is a horse who wants to stay somewhat close, doesn't really want to dictate or even contest the pace, but he wants to be close enough to make that move. I think he will. Second off the layoff for Dan Blacker. I think the horse is going to be ready to go. He would not be my pick, but I think he's going to be ready to go. Then there's a horse that did a great job closing last time out, and I don't think that 5 furlongs is really what Sumter wants to do. I think he's more 6.5 to a mile, but he was effective on that cutback in distance, and he'll be making that move from off the pace. He is a proven closer, and with Hall of Famer Mike Smith in the irons, I think he will make some noise. But what I'm always looking for are horses who have been right there, kind of have the similar running style, just they haven't quite gotten the right trip or racing luck. And if they do get the right trip and the right racing luck, we get value. Sorrento Sky is that runner. I think the runner's all very consistent, doesn't win a lot. You can see they've lost 10 consecutive races, but I think now's the time for them to turn things around. Here's the thing with Sorrento Sky. Last race, they were sitting too far back, that race on July the 19th. And so they had a lot of ground to make up, and I just didn't think that Umberto Rispoli had this runner in the right spot, too far back. But then if you go back to the running of the Green Flash last year in 2025, Sorrento Sky was up too close. He was sitting there third all the way around, and I'm like, when they got into the stretch, he had no kick, he had no punch. So I feel like Umberto needs to split the difference, right? Don't be too close. He can't be close to the pace. That's not how he works, but you don't want to have him dead last and giving him too much work to do. If Rispoli can figure it out, we're going to get a good trip, and we'll get great value if they can work that out. That's the Green Flash. We move on to the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks. 3-year-old fillies going a mile and an eighth on the turf course. This will be race number 9. And you can play a pick 3 here with races 9, 10, and 11. The Oaks, the Classic, and the Del Mar Mile. Speed in here, not a tremendous amount of speed, but I think with the presence of 3 of these fillies, there could be just enough. Unless, of course, they allow a filly to get away with what she got away with at Belmont running recently. So let's start with Define. Define is a kind of a new runner here in the States, able to break the maiden, controlling up there on the front end, and I think they want to do the same thing as they stretch out to a further distance from a mile and a 16 to a mile and an eighth. I don't think that they want to contest. They just want to be close to whoever decides to go out there. Well, after what we saw last time out in the race at Saratoga, the Belmont Oaks, when we saw that situation there, Kensington Lane and Joel Rosario kind of found themselves on the front end, and Joel did a great job. He said, you know what? You guys don't want to go? Fine. I'm going to go on with it. And that was a huge mistake for the rest of the riders. They stole that race. I don't know if Joel will attempt to apply the same tactic this time out, but I know that they won't be far off the pace. So there's not a tremendous amount of pace, but there's enough. And then there's a filly in here that's versatile enough that if they go too slow, she can dictate. She doesn't really want to. And I don't think Junior Alvarado wants to as well with Tam Tam. but I think she wants to be up in that first flight. So if you get these 3 fillies in the first flight, maybe someone tries to get slick and get away. But I feel like there's going to be just enough of a setup for the proven closers. And once again, our goal is to get enhanced value on a filly or a runner that is rounding into form. And I think that Inbox, the number 6, is that filly. You go back and look at what happened. Okay, 7 furlongs debut at Dundalk on the synthetic, not a problem. And then the first time in the States, it's 1 1/8 at Santa Anita. They break the maiden. Now this one, they were sitting around 3rd or 4th the entire time around, and they were able to score. Then, in the Providencia, another, I thought, a good trip, closing down the center of the course, just couldn't quite get there, losing by a length. Then they take a little bit of a break. They come back and they run those 2-mile races. And I feel like the mile is not quite far enough for Inbox. I think she wants the mile and a 16th mile and an 1/8. So now 2-mile races on the turf course. Now 3rd off that little layoff, and they stretch back out to 1 mile and an 1/8. I think she'll be in a great spot with Hector Berrios. And I think we'll get value because I think Raiding Party, who'll be just to the outside, the number 10, will get more support. And I think that's where, not all the money, because I think Define will take some money. Kensington Lane will take some money. Maybe Victorious Dream, who'll be to the inside, will take some money. So the point is, I think we'll get value with Inbox. I think we'll get a good trip. I think that this filly is rounding into form. I think she'll be fit enough to make it happen. The one thing that we kind of forget as players when we are putting our tickets up on social media and asking for, hey, can I get this 12 to come through one time for me? All of our handicapping is pretty much the same. We can all see the horses that are going to be in the mix. And every once in a while, someone will do something with their handicap, and you're like, oh my God, how'd you find that horse? But at the end of the day, it's really not about your handicapping. It's really all about the luck. Did you get a good trip? Were you able to save ground, right? All those things come into play. Did you win that head bob at the wire? All of it comes down to racing luck. So we're just looking to get some luck because we know, or we feel, really good about our handicapping. From there, we move on to the biggie of the bunch, the Grade 1 Pacific Classic Stakes, Saturday at Del Mar. 1.25 miles. It's going to be race number 10. Now, here's one of those things where I wish that I could yell at a horse, but you can't because they don't really care about that. But Forged Steel last time out was stupid, and I don't understand why they would do that. It was really the only speed in the race, and they didn't jump out on the front end. I'm like, if that's your only tactic and that's your only job, what are you doing? Anyway, hopefully they'll break out on top. So Forged Steel is part of the pace. Obviously, Navajo Warrior is part of the pace. Knightsbridge could be part of the pace. And Malachuk is a horse that, I don't know if he wants to be part of the pace, but forwardly placed. How about that? So let's take a look at Navajo Warrior. Last couple times out, they took advantage. They jumped out there on the front end, earning back-to-back graded stakes victories. I don't think this horse is remotely fast enough to beat this field, but you got to do your job. You just got speed, so you have to go, and you can't be cute about it. And so I expect them to be on top. We also expect Knightsbridge, to be close. I don't know if they want to dictate either. I think they got away with it last time out with no other speed really in the race, but I don't know if they're really gung-ho to be out there on the front end. And they do have a chance to win without dictating the pace, but they'll be up close. This horse, Forged Steel, you don't have any choice. You have to go to the front end. I have no idea what they were doing in the Suburban. Maybe it was just a bad break. I don't know. I don't even care. Your job's to get out on top, get your butt out of the gate, get out on top. Okay, so those are your speed horses, right? And so with those runners, I feel like, okay, 2 runners should be out there. They should be out there. And if any of the 2 runners are out there, specifically Forged Steel, should be out there with Navajo Warrior. And you've got other runners that have a little bit to add. You never know what Full Serrano is going to do. This is a horse that used to have some speed as well. Knightsbridge has got the speed. But in this field, we're lacking, I think, tremendous closers. right? Sub Sanador is a horse that's got a little kick. Okay, I see it. But I want a proven closer who has done this before. I don't know if we'll get some value. I think we might get decent price here on Hit Show. Hit Show was a runner that's really consistent. He will have some pace to chase. He likes to win races. And now, third off of the layoff, you need that when you come back from Dubai, from the Meydan race course in United Arab Emirates. I think he's going to be fit and ready to go. And he makes his move from off the pace, and he runs them down. And I think we get, we might get decent value. I don't see why we wouldn't. You know, I don't think anyone's going to bet the mare to the inside or the filly to the inside. Almond Joy, who's the cowbred that's been running very well. I don't think she stacks up in here at all. Good luck to her. Hope she's okay after the race. But I don't think she has any shot to win this race. Hit Show, I think, is just too good, too classy, too tough, too strong. And I think he's rounding into form. And I think we get it done. And I think we'll get some value. From there, we're going to move on to the last race on the card. Last race on the card will be race number 11, the Grade 2 Del Mar Mile. The name tells you everything you need to know. It's a mile, and it's on the turf course. Here we have some interesting pace contenders because there's one horse that we know, like, okay, I know this horse wants to go. So you see Cabo Spirit's got the mark. King of Gosford's got the mark. Flyover gets the mark. And El Potente, super dangerous to the outside, coming back off the layoff. But let's take a look at Cabo Spirit. Mike Smith will break on top. The thing about this runner is, I know that they're going to be tough, but I just don't know if they're going to be able to withstand the pressure they're going to get, because there's a sprinter that's stretching out in this race, and that horse has got to go as well. But Cabo Spirit is a very tough horse, especially on the front end with Mike Smith. It's going to be a problem if this horse is allowed to coast around on the front end. We'll get to the other runner in a second. The main threat is to the outside. This horse is classy and has some speed and loves to win races. Dan Blacker's done an exceptional job with El Potente. Now, the horse is coming off of a bit of a layoff, but you can go back and look and see the horse runs exceptionally well coming back fresh. So, I don't know if they want to contest the pace outright or if they want to just try to sit off of Cabo Spirit, but I think these two will hook up early on. Now, the question is, will this horse be right in the mix? And he is supposed to. Flyover is the sprinter stretching out. He's got to go because he has not shown any ability to rate, especially going a mile. He can't rate and sit off the pace and run them down. It's just not what this horse is built to do. He is built to show speed. You have to go Flyover. And if you're afraid of it, then you probably shouldn't be in the race in the first place. So those are three runners that have to go. They have to. And that makes for a very interesting race going the distance of 1 mile. And you're not really sure if someone else will decide to kind of be like, you know what? I don't want to let these three horses get too far away. But I don't know what other runner could possibly do that. Freedom's Not Free is another runner that has some speed and has an assertive jockey in the form of Freedom's Emiseo Jaramillo is the jockey. They might want to push things just a little bit. And that could be enough to set it up for a really interesting run into the stretch. So if we think those horses are going to do something, who can run them down? Well, Seal Team is the kind of runner going a mile that will sit close enough. Nobody's riding better at Del Mar than Joel Rosario. We got the old Joel Rosario. He's back, baby. He's back. So he's going to be dangerous here. He'll sit just off the pace and make that move. So he'll be closing in the stretch. And he'll have some company. This runner here, Detain, is a runner that I'm like, okay, this runner, I think the mile might be better for him than the mile and a 16th. And, of course, Juan Hernandez makes all the right decisions when he is riding. Does a great job. So this horse will be in the mix, and we're trying to make that move from off the pace. And I think they'll be there. I could have selected this horse because the horse, I think, is good enough to win this race. Instead, I chose this horse, Almendares. This is a really, really interesting runner. I think is consistent, is very classy. I just think that the mile is much better for him than a mile and an eighth or a mile and a 16th. The mile for him is perfect. Now, the thing about this horse, he's more of a grinder at the mile distance. He doesn't really have explosion in his kick. But I think he's going to like cutting back in distance, second off the layoff. And I think he's got a great closing kick. I think he'll be there, and I think he represents value. A lot of these runners, they've faced each other, quite a few times before, so they're somewhat familiar. So this kind of race, once again, has seriously, it has nothing to do with our handicapping. And it has everything to do with getting racing luck. And that's the hardest thing to come by. We've all been here. Like, I'm the king of 4 out of 5 in the pick 5 and getting, nosed out or whatever the case may be in that deciding leg. And it's just all about, did I get racing luck? Did I get racing luck today? Did the jockey do what I thought they were going to do? Did this horse do what I thought they were going to do? That's kind of what it comes down to. And I always feel good about the selections until they break out of the gate. And then I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing back there last? You're supposed to be part of the pace. So those are things we just have to deal with when we're doing all this handicapping and selecting. And then when we say one time, we really just need one time. Just one time for everything to come through. I think this weekend represents that one time we need to turn everything back around. All right. So that's how we do it here on Horse Race Bets. In the meantime, in between time, until next time, I'm Ken Rudulph. We will see you then. Do me a favor here. I wish you nothing but good luck and enjoy whatever you're into. We'll see you next time.